Om Shri Sai Ram, offering my most humble and reverential pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagwan Shri Sathya Sai Baba. Dear brothers and sisters, it has been a wonderful journey so far, and we pray that it continues so that we all can bask in His glory, learn from the life, and sanctify our lives. So let us begin this evening with our prayer, and as normal, I request all of you to please join me in. O Lord, take my love and let it flow in fullness of devotion to Thee. O Lord, take my hands and let them work incessantly for Thee. O Lord, take my soul and let it be merged in one with Thee. O Lord, take my mind and thoughts and let them be in tune with Thee. O Lord, take my everything and let me be an instrument to work for Thee. Om Shri Sai Ram. Continuing with our beautiful saga of an amazing avatar, Rudra avatar, Pavan Putra, Bhakta Shiromani, Sri Hanuman. The more and more we dwell into it, we realize, like this infinite consciousness, infinite creation, even Lord Hanuman's stories and his life is infinite. Whatever we may try, I think we cannot even scratch the surface. But in this humble attempt, we are sure to learn so much that can sanctify not our lives, but even liberate us and give us fulfillment. So let us continue and let me invoke our Bhagwan's Om Namo Hanumantaya Rudravataraya Panchavadhanaya Purmukhe Maharudraya Sakala Shatru Samharanaya Sri Ramadutaya Swaha. Let me welcome my brother Anil Kumar on this forum.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram Bhaiya,
Sai Ram.
welcome.
Sai Ram.
Brother Anil, till
It's a
last
blessing. It's a
episode,
blessing to be on this show discussing such a wonderful story, the sweet story of Lord Sri Rama, as told by Lord Sri Rama in Kali Yuga.
certainly. So it's actually a privilege, as they say, that avatar can be understood only by an avatar, and avatar can be described only by an avatar. So I think we are eternally grateful to Bhagwan Baba
Yeah.
for sharing his life so
Yeah.
that we can get a glimpse into even the present avatar. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it becomes so impossible to even comprehend how an avatar conducts and what are his modus operandi.
Yeah.
So let's just jump into it because we have so much to learn from Avatar. And here we're looking at this beautiful form who came as Vanara, who remained humbly as a servant of the Lord. In fact, a wonderful example of how an Vanara could become an avatar himself, a journey he has shown us. So it is so difficult to really look at Hanumanji from all perspective, at least from our perspective. So what we decided is that we will look at Hanumanji from certain topics and we look at the characteristics which he has highlighted for all of us. So as we know, we call him Bhakta Shiromani. And when we call him Bhakta Shiromani, there is, I would say, known fact. There are 9 Navvid
Now
Bhakti,
with the
they call
Bhakti.
it.
Yes.
the 9 forms of offering your devotion to Lord. And I can just quickly read it out. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Vandanam, Archanam, Dasyam, Sneham, and Atmanivedanam. Sneham is also called Sakhyam, as friendship. And Bhagwan has elaborated on these points million times, I would say. Uh, each time I heard it, I thought that I have understood. But now we realize that even after all that, we have not even started the journey. And imagine Hanuman epitomized the whole Navavid Bhakti.
Yeah,
He lived, he breathed, and he represented as an embodiment of Navavid Bhakti. So it is,
very true.
I would say it is tough, but let us look at it. So, what do you think about this? If you want to share something,
Yeah, yeah. With prayerful pranams at Bhagwan's lotus feet. साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्. ॐ आञ्जनेयं महावीरं ब्रह्मविष्णु शिवात्मकं करुणार्कप्रभं शान्तं रामदूतं नमाम्यहम्. So invariably we pray to Lord Hanuman. One nama which he most loves is Ramaduta, right? So Ramaduta, Ramadasa are the terms that he most often uses. He, are the terms which we come across in Ramayana also he keeps using when he goes to Lanka. And whenever he introduces himself, he says, I am the either he says I am the Duta of Lord Rama or he says I am Dasa of Lord Rama. I think there is one beautiful thing that we need to understand here. This Navavida Bhakti that Bhagwan used to tell us so often. If you see from Shravanam till Dasyam, maybe you can show it once again on the screen for everyone's understanding. From Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Vandanam, Archanam, it is all the devotee seeking something from the Lord and doing the worship or doing the acts of devotion. Be it Shravanam, listening to something, be it Kirtanam, you sing bhajans, right? Vishnu Smaranam, constantly remembering the Lord. Pada Sevanam, we want to do the service, but with a attitude of wanting to get something in return. Pada Sevanam, Vandanam, Archanam. Till there, if you see, the first six of them, right, are an attitude of a devotee where the devotee is seeking something from the Lord. As the journey proceeds, as the devotee starts becoming more and more evolved, so to say, becomes more and more fructified in his journey towards the divine, he tends to start coming to a state where he feels he can give something to the Lord. In fact, the beauty of Sanskrit language lies in the words. See, the translations invariably into English spoil the
quite
actual meaning.
destroyed.
Dasa or dasoyam. Dasa plus ayam. It consists of dasa plus ayam, dasoyam, right? So dasa for the root word in Sanskrit for dasa is das. And das, two meanings are most commonly observed in Sanskrit. The
I thought
two
we'll look at it when we come there. You want to start now with Dasa? Because otherwise
Dasa
we
will come
change.
to later. Okay,
Yeah,
sure, sure. No issue at all. So this dasoyam is a state where we he tends to serve the Lord. The service here is a very very important aspect which we need to understand in greater detail in our journey towards the Lord. In the love, the how the love takes it is actually the journey of the love of the devotee for the Lord. How love, it starts with adoration then converts itself into love, and love then converts into deep love, which is belovedness, right? And finally the surrender. So that's what, and Hanuman epitomized this. It's not that once you come to a stage of dasya, you give up Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. They become part of our existence, one's existence, and that's why Lord Hanuman is known to be chanting Ramanama even now, right? So it's not that the Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, and all that stop because he has gone to the stage of Atmanivedanam, right? So these continue, these become part of the existence of one's way of living. And this is what Lord Hanuman showed us all, that this is how the journey has to happen. You have to start first, his first meeting with Lord Rama, what Swami had in one of the conversations said, once he met Lord Rama at Rishyamukha Parvata, the very first darshan of his, of Lord Rama, he started chanting the Ramanama. So I
Actually,
think,
there is also stories about it. But let me show something I want to do because for helping the organize this thought, I thought we'll break it up into these sections, and I wanted to look at
okay.
Lord
Mhm.
Hanuman from these perspective, so that we can cover it up, and it becomes a learning curve for all of us how to look at this beautiful phenomena called Sri Hanuman and use him as our ideal to follow as a spiritual aspirant. So if we take up one item, I think that would make it more interactive for us to learn from them. So we'll look at
Yeah,
it
yeah.
one by one. Okay. So let us start with our Bhakta Shiromani, because it's how it summarizes the whole thing. What does it mean? And I just wanted to start off by giving you the definition which Bhagavan gave. He says, what is bhakti? And he said, Shakti, Yukti, Asakti, Anurakti is
Yes,
bhakti. So if you
right.
can explain these four
Yeah,
words
so I
and
think
then
these are
go from
very, very important words which we need to understand. As I said, the translation, literal translation into a single word English translations are not the ones that capture the complete meaning. For example, anurakti, anu invariably is used in most of these statements to convey constant, continuous, steadfast. These are the meanings, these are the closest words that we can give for Anu. Rakti is deep love. So Anurakti is that constant, unhindered, ever flowing, deep love is Anurakti. So it's not just love. It's a like Krishna says, "Mam anusmara yudhyacha." In Bhagavad Gita, Lord
Bhagavad.
Krishna tells Arjuna, Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. What is Anusmara? How is Anusmara different from Smara? He could have said Mam Smara Yudhyacha, right? He didn't say Mam Smara Yudhyacha, he said Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. Means you continuously, without a break, think of me. Like Swami used to give very often this example. The how should your thinking, your namasmarana, your thinking about the Lord, how should it be? And Swami said it should be like the way when you pour oil from a vessel, the way it flows with no break. It's a continuous flow. If you see oil versus water, water you will see there will be breaks. You will see if you carefully observe there will be the water flow is not a continuous flow, but there will be gaps in the water. You can actually see one drop separated from another drop. But whereas oil, when it flows Tailavrit, it is called. So when it flows continuously. And Swami was actually that time I remember he was in Vrindavan, he was sitting on the Jula, and Swami said, see, it's like the chain. The chain has to, if it has to hold the Jula, every this one has to connect and hold continuously. There can't be a
the
break.
chain.
The chain,
Yeah.
there can't be a break. Then it can't hold. So Namam can bind the Lord if it is continuous. It won't bind the Lord to your heart if it's not continuous. And what Hanuman showed us is this first very important aspect of what we should be doing in our daily life is, if we really want to take it to the extent of where the Lord will be constantly with us, then it has to be constant namasmarana. So anurakti, I am coming from backside, the last word anurakti. So anurakti epitomizes, or it leads asakti and anurakti actually, which lead to shakti and yukti. Shakti and yukti come because of asakti and anurakti. Asakti is a desire, a yearning, not even desire actually. It is asakti is intense yearning, intense desire to know.
Deep,
It,
deep, intense desire
deep,
for God.
intense desire, yeah, is asakti. So asakti and anurakti. So one is to get to know more and more of the leelas and the glory of the Lord. The other is the deep love for the Lord. These two together, and because it is anurakti, it is constantly, every act is done for the divine. So it's what Swami summarizes as sarva karma bhagat prityartham. You do every act.
But it's interesting to see yukti there.
Yeah,
Bhakti and
yeah.
yukti.
So
That's
no,
interesting.
Yukti has to come. Yukti has to come. In fact, we should. I think last time we did discuss a bit of this, but Yukti is very, very important to ensure that you maneuver through this existence, to this worldly existence, in such a way that it doesn't break your devotion to the Lord. All the vicissitudes of life, all the changes that happen in individual's life have to be in a yukti manner. What is yukti? It is intelligent planning. We can translate it as intelligent planning. It is not deceiving. Yukti is not
Actually,
deceiving. It is
actually,
intelligent planning.
the word clever is
Clever.
slightly lower
Negative.
level. Yeah,
Correct.
it has a
So
tinge of negativity, but
that
yukti
is why,
is positive. So I just can't.
yeah. So that is why I'm using the word intelligent planning rather than saying clever. So
Hmm.
cleverness, if we say, if we translate yukti as clever, then it becomes a slightly negative connotation comes in. But if you say intelligent planning, where the your intent is anurakti, and therefore not to break that anurakti, you intelligently plan and maneuver your life in such a way that part is yukti,
Yep.
so that there is no break in your love for the divine. This is very much needed, and it's a very
And
important
Shakti,
aspect of a devotee's life. And
and
that's where
Shakti, how
Hanuman,
do
if
you
you
get
see,
to Shakti?
we'll come to Shakti a little later. So how you can see Hanuman, how he managed it. He saw that Lord had come to him, and he saw the very first meeting. He realized it is his Lord who has finally, what he was waiting for has happened, and Lord has entered his life, and he has to now ensure that he is with the Lord forever. Every moment of his existence, he wants to be with the Lord. So what did he do? He immediately took him to his king, right? And didn't stop there, and offered, or in fact suggested, that they both become friends, Agni Sakshi, in the presence of fire, with fire as a witness. He ensured that his king, his master, or his employer, if you have to put it in a very subtle way, right? So he befriends his lord, his soul's purpose, right? His very existence, which is Lord Rama. He befriends Lord Rama. So that is how he managed, and yeah, in a very tactful way. Yukti can also be translated as tact to some extent, right? In a very tactful manner, he ensured that Sugriva gets bound with Lord Rama, and Lord Rama gets bound with Sugriva. And because he is anyway a minister in Sugriva's kingdom, right, he will get the access to Lord Rama. So if you look at it from a perspective of a means how an example he has set in this very first uh, uh, meeting Lord Rama. So in fact, he is the one who suggests this friendship. So that's the yukti aspect, wherein he plans this. In fact, Swami gives another beautiful story of Hanuman's yukti. It seems after all the battle got over and Lord Rama came back to Ayodhya, and the kingdom, he was ruling the kingdom along with Mother Sita. Everything was going fine. All the brothers of Lord Rama and all the other uh, um, close aides of Lord Rama wanted to ensure that everywhere, every time Hanuman is constantly with Lord Rama. So they thought we should let's divide all the duties that we need to do for Lord Rama and for the kingdom, right? And ensure that we have our own share of Lord's time, Lord Rama's time, and attention. So they went with a proposal to Lord Rama, suggesting that, and what they did very intelligently, again their yukti it was, right? It's also their yukti. They're also devoted. They had their own yukti. So what did they do? They divided all the works in such a way that nothing was left for Lord Hanuman. And they went with that proposal. And Rama, because it was being proposed by his dear brothers, he said, "Fine, go ahead. Let this be the way it should be done." And Hanuman realized, and that is where again his yukti, his intelligence comes to play. He says, "Lord Rama, okay, this is fine. Let them do all these services to you, but I want one small desire and one small service which I want to do for you, Lord Rama, which has been left out from this list." And so he says, "What is it?" It seems in those times when uh, kings and people of stature yawn, they used to snap in front of the mouth. Snapping in front of the mouth when yawning used to happen was activity, was a practice at those times, during those times, for people of elite class, right? So he said, "Lord Rama, that has been left out. When you yawn, I should be there to snap fingers in front of you, in front of your mouth." Okay, then everyone thought it's fine initially, and they said, "Fine, if that's a small, it doesn't interfere with anything. It's okay." And they also willingly accepted Lord Hanuman to take that service. And then they realized, because it's never, you can't predict when a yawn will come, right? So he had to be constantly vigilant and attentive to Lord Rama, and therefore he again achieved his goal of being constantly with Lord Rama. So that's the yukti aspect. That is the beautiful yukti aspect, where in a loving manner he ensured that his deep love, he is always with his beloved, never separated from his beloved. No matter how the life took its turns, he ensured that he is always with his beloved. That is the yukti part. And through this yukti and deep love for the Lord, what comes is Shakti. Because finally, who does everything? That is why Hanuman says everything I could achieve all these because of Rama, right? In fact, I think this we recalled in the one of the previous conversations when Lord Rama asked Agastya, sage Agastya, "I have one doubt." After this was after all the battle and everything, and he says Hanuman is capable of uh, killing 1,000 Ravanas and 1,000 Valis and the whole Rakshasas. Why did he not kill Vali? Vali was doing wrong, right? And he knew Vali was doing wrong, going, sorry, he was adharmic. And still, why did he not kill Vali? So, Agastya's reply, as per Valmiki Ramayana, is he says, "Lord, the ways of the divine are known only to the divine." Because both are avatars, right? So Agastya very tactfully says, "Ways of the divine are known only to the." But then, no, this conversation, one of the poets who had translated it into Telugu, he says the answer that was given by Agastya was, "Lord, till you went to Hanuman, it was your entry into his life which made him realize his worth. It is the touch of the Lord which converted Hanuman from a human or a Vanara Hanuman to a divine being." So, if you really see, it's a beautiful way of putting it. Because if you really see, till Rama
Basically,
met Hanuman,
yeah.
Mhm.
Basically, Bhagwan's touch only can make you realize your
Correct.
innate.
That is the reason why Hanuman says, "I crossed the ocean because of the strength of Lord Rama."
When you
Everything happened.
mention about continuous chanting, there is a
Hmm,
story which our drama boys had enacted in
hmm,
front of Swami.
hmm,
think Bhagwan said it. So the story goes like when they were, charging towards Lanka, all the
Hmm.
monkeys and everybody. Then it seems early morning, uh, the monkeys were going for ablutions, and
Hmm.
Hanuman was there, and he sees one monkey, one Vanara, while going through the ablutions, he was chanting Ramanam.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
yeah.
Hanuman feels like as if, hey, how can you chant Ram Nam while doing these things? So he calls him and he actually gets upset about him and in fact slaps him. So how dare you chant, when you're doing evolutions? So for it was like, as they consider some
Yeah.
activity to be impure.
Okay.
And then it was over and he comes back to the Ram's audience later on. And when he goes to Rama's audience, he finds that there is a fingerprint on Rama's face. And he gets shocked that who dare to touch Ram like that? And he gets upset and angry and he looks at Ram and says, Lord, who did that to you? Tell me, I will destroy that person. And Ram very smilingly turned and says, you only did it. And it was a shocker. And then Ram says, Hanuman, how can you differentiate from one time to another time, one person to another person? Have you not realized? And that was a realization to Hanuman the importance and the grandeur of Ramanam or the Lord's name.
Yeah.
And it seems that is the point, turning point in Hanuman's physical life sojourn when he pledged to make the Ramnam as a continuous process
Okay. Mhm.
without break.
Yeah. Actually,
And that was it.
regarding this, no, I'm reminded of what Swami used to tell us all very often during those times. Swami used to say, because these impure thoughts are very natural for every individual, right? And so Swami used to say, don't worry. The reason is when you start thinking of the Lord, even when the impure thoughts come, right? That is the way to overcome them and not to worry about them. The reason is Lord is an ocean of purity. Lord's name also is ocean of purity. Into that you add a drop of dirt. What happens? What can it do to the ocean? Nothing is going to happen, right? So Swami used to tell us very often, don't worry. Even a bad thought comes, tell it to Swami. Anything happens, because this is fire, this is purity, to the highest order, the most expansive purity that one can think of, and into that no impurity can ever tarnish the Lord's name and the
See, that
power
is
and
why
the
I
love
think
of the Lord.
this thought can really break that old perception of good time, bad time to think of God or the right way and not. So, anyway, anytime, anywhere, any
Yeah.
place, anybody can chant Ram, can chant Lord's name. And that is the beauty, I think, which gets
Correct.
highlighted very strongly by this life. From here, if we jump to the next
In
stage,
fact, one more we need to connect here. Swami is, in
yes,
fact, in I think it was one of the Upanayanam times. Swami means the thread ceremony that is done in one of those functions. Swami in the discourse, Swami mentioned that don't worry, when should I chant Gayatri? While you are
yes.
having your bath, you chant Gayatri. That will be like Abhishekam to Mother Gayatri, right?
In
So
fact,
Swami never
somebody had,
restricted.
in fact, in a very small interview session with, as an alumni, I remember, we were there and somebody said, Swami, things are getting really busy, working and running around. So early morning, Swami, we have to run to work and all that. It becomes too tiring. We don't get time to sit and do prayer or to chant
Hmm.
Gayatri. Because Bhagavan was saying that we should chant thrice Gayatri,
Mm.
in a day.
Yes.
Morning,
Yeah.
afternoon, evening, we should chant
Mm.
Gayatri three times a day. So that is what he was saying, and the boy made a statement and requested Swami, what do we do? Swami said, why? Don't you take bath? He said, yes, Swami. He said, while taking bath, chant. So he made it so simple
Correct.
that
Yeah,
it
so
went
simple. Correct.
anywhere. So that is where it came out, and we are laughing about it later on that look how easy he makes it. You don't even
Correct.
have to sit in an altar to chant Gayatri 3 times, and you can just chant it in while taking bath. And you see how simple he makes it, right?
Right.
So
That's
let
the
us
beauty
jump
of
from here to sadhaka, because for bhakti, the approach, the mindset, and the lifestyle has to be of a sadhaka, a spiritual aspirant. And I think it doesn't mean, in my humble opinion, I don't think it means that we have to be a renunciant, or we have to be, like a sadhu wearing a orchid robe all the time. This is actually an attitude, what I feel, for every individual while living their life. So
correct.
when I look at that way, I find this sadhaka represents a very beautiful character and a bundle of attributes which can be learned and imbibed. And
Yeah.
as a sadhaka, I'm sure you can highlight it further. I think there is one very important thing when we talk about, constantly chanting the name of the God. It is the process which Bhagavan said, you know, that one must, the only sadhana that you are supposed to do is to think that there is nothing but God.
Yes.
That's, and it sounds very simple statement, but trust me,
Yeah,
I
very
feel
different. Yeah.
to me it is like Swami, you just said it very simply, but it is so. And he says the only sadhana one needs to do is this, to remind that everything is God, there is nothing but God. It's
Yeah.
only God. And that is the way he defines is prioritizing God in life.
Yeah.
The step is prioritizing God, and the activity is I'm not the doer, I'm nothing. It is
Yes.
God. So I am also God. Everything is God. So there is nothing but God. What do you say about that? Any thoughts, any
Yeah.
memories of Bhagwan?
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, what I was getting reminded of as you were saying this is in one of the interviews. This was towards the 2000s, one of the later interviews. Okay, I'll tell it. It was my sister who asked Bhagwan, Swami, we hear you have told us so many things in so many ways at so many times. What exactly should we practice so that we please you? Okay, a
Hmm.
very hope you got the question. A very very simple but a very important question for all of us. What should we do so that we please you, Bhagwan? You have told us so many things in so many ways and so many different times, but what is one thing that you really want us to live as? And you know what Swami's answer was beautiful. Swami said, constantly think that you are my instrument. You are just an instrument in my hand. In fact, what you prayed before starting this session, Lord, let me be thy instrument. That is the attitude constantly that has to get into our system, mind, body, soul. The attitude that has to get permeate our full activity, our existence is that we are an instrument, and the instrument, is always held and used by someone else, right? So actual doer is the Lord, and we become only an instrument in his hands. That's the answer Swami gave. Always think that you are an instrument in my hands. That to live that life, to live that in that constant awareness. It's not just constant thought, but constant awareness that he is the doer and we are just an instrument. I think Hanuman epitomized that way of life. And how did he ensure, what is the example he showed us for achieving that? Constant namasmarana, so that that attitude of being connected to the Lord. See, it's very important for us to maintain any one thought continuously. We need to be constantly connected to that thought continuously, right? So there are various ways, and one of the easiest and the best way that Swami has taught us all is namasmarana. Namasmarana, if it is done in a continuous manner, we are constantly reminding ourselves that he is the doer and we are but an instrument in his hands. In reality, also actually, from if you look at it from, as I was thinking about this, I used to in fact discuss this in biochemistry classes. It is true to the core actually. if we feel we have control over our body, right? For example, you have kept your hand like this right now. We feel we can move our hand the way we want, right? But if you just go even an inch deeper, even by inch, even a millimeter deeper, right? You have so many cells and so many biochemical reactions going on in these cells. We have no idea which reaction is going on in which cell, right? And unless those biochemical reactions go on, the cell cycle, cell life is not in our control. So when we don't even know what is going on, we don't have control over even one single cell in our body to control its biochemical reaction. How then are we saying that we have control over the body? It is a illusion. Externally, we feel we have a control. Internally, there's absolutely no control, right? Who is running it? Who is making this happen? Who is making this body? In fact, Swami many times used to ask. In fact, one of the, again, I remember one of the, um, uh, I think it was in our second PG outgoing batches, Swami used to give interviews, right? You remember at those times? The outgoing batch, Swami used to call for separate interview. In that, one of these brothers asked Swami, how do we know you are with us always? How do we know that? And Swami said, what a, uh, um, it's not exactly foolish question. Foolish is the English translation. ఎంత అల్పమైన ప్రశ్న, Swami said. What a foolish question. Your existence, you are alive is because of my strength flowing into you constantly. So really that's the truth, right? The body is functioning because of he functioning through the body,
Can you
and
imagine these
we are a
answers? Can't even, we can't even comprehend these kind of answers.
yes. And
One day,
Swami's way,
somebody asked
huh?
Swami, the same question was asked to Bhagwan, and somebody said, Swami, how do I know that you think of me? Because I think of you continuously. And Swami said, if you think of me, that shows I am thinking of you. That is why you are able to think of me.
Correct,
So it is him, he thinking of us so that we are able to think of him. It's not other way around.
correct.
So
Like
it's a
Swami used to
mind.
say, no, I think another way of putting the same statement, which all of us, I'm sure, would have heard Swami very often, especially in the earlier discourses, Swami used to say, no one can enter Prashant Nilayam without my will, right? So unless he thinks of a devotee, the devotee doesn't get to know Bhagwan also. Forget thinking of Bhagwan. He doesn't even get to know of Bhagwan. He doesn't even get to know that Avatar has come on this planet, right? So it is that's the, in fact I am reminded of one more conversation. This is given in Holy Man and Psychiatrist, that book written by Samuel Sandwich. Towards
Samuel
the
Sanders.
end, Sandwich he towards the end he gives a conversation. He writes it as a devotee and Swami. Maybe the devotee was he himself, but he doesn't write his name. He gives it as a conversation between Swami and the devotee. So it seems Swami mentions to him in that conversation. It's beautiful. You should read that. And Swami says there are three types of devotees who come to me. One who is after my physical presence, constantly wants my attention, is always after the physical response, right? We can correlate it to something like Satyabhama's devotion to Lord Krishna, Mother Satyabhama's devotion to Lord Krishna, right? The other type of devotee is a devotee who wants physical attention, who craves for physical attention, but is also aware that Swami is everywhere, that he can connect to Swami even internally, right? This is like we can correlate this to Mother Rukmini's devotion to Lord Krishna, right? Then comes the last type of devotee who is fully aware and constantly aware that Swami is all the time with them and is constantly connected no matter where he or she is. They feel the presence of the Lord and they live in that constant connect. Right? This is almost like Mother Radha's bhakti to Krishna, right? Lord Krishna. And after this, the most the statement which takes away the which is the punchline. Swami says it's not for you to decide to which category you should belong to. So this devotee is fully zapped. He said, Swami, then what should I do? If it is not my choice to select which type of devotion or which type of devotee I want to become, right? Then what is it that I need to do? And you know what Swami's answer? Why do you think you are doing? That is your mistake. That's the uh, so that's the crux. Actually, that's what
Actually,
Lord
now
Hanuman
if you,
epitomized.
correct, but if you think of it from the perspective of a sadhaka, you realize the basic concept, the definition of sadhaka is one who doesn't exist.
Correct.
He's practicing that everything is God. So
Yes.
when he said that Bhagwan, which form of bhakti I should pursue, so there is an I-ness which is talking, and he says that is a
Yes.
foundational mistake. It is a
Correct.
premise itself is okay. Look at this and this sadhaka perspective, and people have asked me this question very often. Because spirituality is something wonderful because it talks from the kindergarten to PhD in the one stroke.
Yeah.
Bhagavad Gita can be read by anybody and everybody will get their own flavor.
Correct.
And that is why it always, many times, confuses many people, which seemingly sounds very different. So when we say, if I don't exist, I have to practice that. And then the sadhaka is also expected to practice sarva karma bhagavad prityartham.
Correct.
That
That
all the
that
actions
comes
are
that comes only w- that is a stepping stone to feeling that everything is being done by the divine. You start off with saying, I do everything for you, O Lord. Because of the love for the Lord, we say everything I want to do for you, for pleasing you. In fact, this is a beautiful way of life. Actually, the way of life that is led by the whole creation is this. Sarva karma bhagavat prityardham is the reason why creation is existing. You know, actual meaning of mantra pushpam that we chant. Yopam pushpam veda pushpavan prajavan pashuban bhavati chandramava pam pushpam, right? So there what is described is be it the vayu, the agni, the vayu, the sun, the moon, the nakshatras, the parjanya, which is the clouds, and samvatsara, which is the time. All of them, they say the essence of their existence is water, the flower of water. Actually, water is another word that Vedamata uses for love. Vedamata doesn't use the word love directly. Prema it doesn't use, it uses apaha in place of prema. Right? That's why,
interesting. I didn't know that. Okay.
yeah. Actually, water in a okay, I'll give you a good story for this to connect and understand that water is a symbolism for love. How do we connect it? This is a story which is there in Garga Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam written by sage Garga, who was the family priest of Nanda, means Lord Krishna's father, right? In
Father
fact,
Krishna.
he names baby Krishna as Krishna. It is Garga who
Okay.
gives the name of Krishna. Like Vashishta gave Rama name, Krishna name was given by sage Garga, right? And he writes the
Okay.
Bhagavatam. And in his Bhagavatam, actually, because he writes all the childhood part of Lord Krishna, which is called as Garga Bhagavatam. And there he describes mostly the Vrindavan life of Krishna, the childhood life, right? That is where in Garga Bhagavatam only Radha's mention comes in. In Vyasa Bhagavatam, there's no mention of Mother Radha. Mother Radha's mention is there only in Garga Bhagavatam, right? Okay, so this aside, what the story which gives you this understanding that water is love is Lord Krishna tells Radha, Mother Radha, one day I'll take you and show you something very wonderful today. Come along with me. So he takes Mother Radha to the forest nearby. And as they are walking, they find one sage lost in bliss. Rubhu Rishi. His name is Rubhu, Sage Rubhu. And Lord Krishna says, the amount of deep love that he has for me, no other soul in this universe has for me that much. Mother Radha is shocked. She feels
Wow.
deeply, she loves Krishna. So she was really shocked that there's someone who is even more deeply loving Lord Krishna. So much so, Lord Krishna says that he is the one who loves Lord Krishna the most in the whole universe. Then after a while, so he says, "You see what happens now." And they both stand in front of Rugurshi, and Lord Krishna goes within and active. Means he's actually closing his eyes and is lost in that bliss of seeing the form of the Lord. He Lord wakes him up, and so he opens his eyes and sees physically Lord Radha Krishna, Mother Radha and Krishna right in front of him. He's elated. He is he dances with joy and starts doing pradakshina around Krishna, right? And after a while, he's not there. Mother Radha is shocked. She says, Krishna, what has happened? Till now, Ruburishi was there. He's no longer seen. Then Lord Krishna says, look down, look at my feet. A river starts flowing from there. Water starts oozing out of that area where Lord Krishna is standing. And he says, out of his deep love for me, he has converted himself into a river. And then Lord Krishna tells which river is the love, who out of the love for the divine got converted to rivers. He gives the full sequence. There are so many rivers in India. I don't remember this coming class. I'll read it out. Surely coming discussion. I'll pull out that because I didn't expect this discussion will come in this session of ours. He gives the full sequence. Which river is because of whose love for the divine that they got converted into a river. So water is the physical uh, correlation or connotation of love for the Lord. That is why Shiva is Abhisheka Priya. You pour water over Shivalinga is saying, I love you, O Lord. That's all it is. It's only the physical aspect of that is you pour water over the Shivalinga. Actually, what are you saying? I love you, O Lord. Because water is the symbolism of water is love. So, what is this mantra from telling us? That all these are existing in this on the means doing their activities for the love of the Lord. Out of the love of the Lord, they are functioning. Be it the Agni, the Vayu, the sun, the moon, the stars, the Parjanya, the Samvatsara, everything is functioning because of their deep love for the Lord. And if you know this, you become wealthy, healthy, and all that thing comes. Yopambushpam Veda, you remember that thing that it also tells the Phala. So, what is Vedamata telling us? It is that way of life, actual way of life, because creation itself is existing because of their deep love for the Lord. So, how should you also live? Is of sarva karma bhagat prityartham. It is for the deep love of the Lord you should exist. That is the actual secret of creation and how to live in the creation.
Gosh.
Because then it will take, and that's what Lord Hanuman did. Every act of his was for pleasing Lord Rama. And in the process, of course, later on it became Lord Rama and Mother Sita. He sees Mother Sita as the embodiment of the Parashakti. His very first darshan of Mother Sita is not only as a tapaswin, but he sees her as Mother Gayatri. So Parashakti he sees her as and becomes deep devotee of Mother Sita. So he is one Bhakta who is the Shiva Shakti, Bhakta of Shiva Shakti, if you see, is Lord Hanuman. He becomes a deep love and devotion to Mother Sita and Sita Rama, in other words, right? He becomes a deep devotee and constantly in love for Mother Sita and Lord Rama.
Thank
And
you very much for bringing out this Vedic secret slightly here, because these are we have been chanting it for all my student life and here, and never really dwelled into this aspect of APA, how water is
see, because if
correlated
you
in.
ask, if you ask a question, everything is love. Every discourse Swami used to tell, and the whole message of Swami is that love is the existence, love is the cause of the existence, and love is everything in life, right? And but in Veda, there's no mention of love. If you see the word love as love, prema word, if you see, there's no mention of prema anywhere in Veda. How can that be? Vedamata has come down on this planet, Veda Purusha has come, and he's saying love is everything. But Vedas doesn't have love. How can it be possible? Right?
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
See, because
Oh,
every Swami's message was Vedic, Vedas only. Vedas only were told in our language by Bhagwan. It's not different.
beautiful. Thank you. Okay, let's move forward. This question which I had presented and you gave a beautiful exposition on that is like it's a step by step. So ultimately, one has to realize that everything is God, but we have to also acknowledge where we stand.
Correct.
And when somebody said, Swami, like one boy asked, in fact, in a big gathering, he asked this question to Bhagwan. He said, Bhagwan, if I am God, then how can I, do anything wrong? you know, so everything should be, why am I suffering because of my consequences? Bhagwan says, you know it, but you don't believe it. You
Correct.
haven't experienced yet. Because the day you experience it, things will change.
Yeah.
Like somebody who went into Bhagwan's room and he said, Swami, I have now understood that I am God. Since you have been telling me I'm God, Swami said, very good, go and give darshan.
Yeah, that was earlier. Vrindavan it
Earlier,
happened.
remember? He said, go and
Yeah.
give darshan.
Yeah.
So, and then Bhagwan, it seems to explain that he said, the moment you become God, you realize God, people will come to take your darshan because
Correct.
your energy, the aura will change. So it's a fact. So Srinivas brother is asking here, can we conclude that even a thought can emanate in one's mind only if Swami wills it? Again, the same answer I would say is that if you believe it, it is so.
Yes.
But since we do not believe it completely, and we are partially, whenever it's convenient, we believe it. So that is where we have to be cautious and careful.
For this question, I'll give you a beautiful answer. This is
Hmm.
answer in the sense. This is an answer which Swami only had given. It happened in my PhD time. We just joined PhD. We were four of us, right? And because joining PhD is not like joining any of the degree courses, so we don't join on June 1st into the college, right? We wait for Bhagwan, and Bhagwan gives permission, and then the registrar gives us a letter. So we join little late. So it was somewhere in October time we were supposed to join the PhD. Though Swami had told us you join, do PhD. Four of us in our batch we were. By the time we actually got into the hostel and actually started going to the lab and started the work, it was closed October time. So these few months from June to October, we used to live in Mandir. You know that Mandir, North Prashant, continuation of East Prashanti, that block was
Hold on.
students used
Hold
to
on.
live. All four of us used to live there, and therefore morning darshan was a wonderful opportunity for us. Students will not be coming, even the faculty leave by the time first darshan is over. After Swami completes interview and comes, there's nobody there, right? Only a few of us, even officials, all the mandir officials also go off to their work. So bhajan, between that interview bhajan time was a wonderful time, and many a time Swami used to call us inside during that period into the interview room for giving us talking to us, speaking to us, and then giving us the spiritual insights. So Bhagwan, this used to happen quite often, almost every day or every other day. Swami used to call us. There was one among the four of us who was little lazy in a sense. He used to never get up by darshan time. In spite of living there, he used to never get up by darshan time. He used to slowly get up, get himself ready, and come by the time the interview gets over, and come and sit there and come inside interview room straight away. So I will call and he'll. So he was like a farm boy. So I used to like him a lot, but he had that laziness as one of his, um, I think, problems, right? So one day Swami called us, and he still didn't come from from the hostel, from the Mandir hostel to Mandir. We three of us went in, and he slowly walked. We sat, and then we were doing Pad Seva. Swami was speaking to us. I think outside Kaldas sir used to sit. So he said, "You can go into that boy." So he came in slowly, opened the interim door, and walked in, and sat there. Then Swami, very casually, Swami asked him, "So, because you know Swami is everywhere, you that is why you don't come for darshan, physical darshan." Swami asked him, okay, why this physical darshan? Because you know Swami is everywhere, so you are not too very bothered about this physical darshan, physical contact, is it not? That's why you have come late. Swami asked him. Then he didn't know what to say. He didn't know to say yes or no. If he says no, also it's a problem. If he says yes, also it's a problem. But he nodded. He's saying almost like yes. And then Swami gave a beautiful. That is the answer for this question. Swami said, "Good, but don't ride two horses. It will be dangerous. Either be in the constant thought that I am with you, I am always with you, everything you feel me, and be in that thought and live in that thought, or live in this thought that I am physically here and you have to have my darshan, you have to relate to me. Live in one of these two. Don't jump from one reality to other reality." Right? So, see, the answer, therefore, for this question is, you believe that everything is done by Swami, then every thought also is given by Bhagavan. But if we don't live in that constant thought that everything is being done by Him, and we keep shifting stance, for a while, when things don't go well, we say, "No, Swami gave me these thoughts, and therefore I did." And things go well, we say, "No, no, I have done everything." So these shifting stances are dangerous. They are like riding two horses. The analogy Swami gave is, you are riding two horses at the same time. You will
That
definitely meet with an accident. Right?
that could be under the umbrella of asakti, right? That
Right.
continuous, attraction towards God, continuous
And
memory. Just
continuously remembering. See, it's a journey. We start we at the very first beginning itself, we will not be in a position to feel that everything, every thought, everything that happens to us is being done by the divine will. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. It's a journey, but that journey has to begin. Right? I think even everywhere, in every language in India, I think this is there. Without the Shiva Icha, Shiva Icha we say. In Telugu we say Shivagnya lende Chimaina kuttadu. Means even an ant will not come and bite you without the will of Lord Shiva.
see,
Right?
it's a matter of belief. Bhagavan said, "No, that not even a leaf can move without my will." So
That's a
it
fact.
shows there is an ultimate truth is that, but since we are not in that constant reminder, constant memory of that, we have to be careful. And I think lovely the statement which Bhagavan has used, I think that's a best guide that don't ride two horses at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay, let us now from here, the most I would say, which you had already started off, and very interesting aspect is Das.
Das, yes.
The interesting part why I say it is that because this word, I would say one of the most misused and misinterpreted words it could be.
Correct.
And especially because unfortunately we are dependent on this English, so it gets corrupted further. Now, why do I get attracted to it is because Bhagavan himself said, "I am your Das."
Correct.
No, I am the Das. So I am the servant of servants. And that's how he expected us to conduct in the society and in life as the servitude attitude.
Correct.
But when we convert this word into servant, then it gives a different connotation. And Brother Anil, you were trying to start off with that, so I stopped you there.
Yeah.
So I think this is a time when you can break it down as to the root word of das and then
Yeah.
take it from there. So we
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
discuss. Yeah.
So, as you rightly said, no, the translation of dasa as servant is a very, very wrong translation, and actually takes away the beauty of the relationship of being a dasa. Dasa in Sanskrit, the root word is das, Das, there are two meanings to it. One is to give. The most common meaning that comes is to give. It's a very, very important aspect for us to understand. Servant, we invariably think, is someone who takes, right? Who expects something and therefore does some acts of service. No, actually, dasa here is the reverse of it, where dasa means to give. Das is to give rather than to take, right? And so it becomes a very, very important difference. So when you say daso,
Give the other one also, other root meaning also.
other root meaning, there are two other. But other root meaning is das, other root meaning is fading away. What a meaning, no? Fading away is another meaning for das. Root word das means what? Actually, your individuality fades away in the process of being a dasa, right? You are constantly, it's like mother thinking of serving the child, right? The individuality of the mother goes away. It's the love for the child that takes over, right? So it's a love for the master which takes over, an individuality of the so-called servant. Again, I am using the word servant because in English there's no other word which we can use, right? Disappears. And the third meaning for da, da also means to give in one root word. Other meaning is love. Da is love. Other root word meaning is love. So now you put together this thing. So you give with love, right? And you fade away. Now, if you take the whole meaning of dasa, you give with love and you fade away, right? And therefore, if you see in this Navaveda Bhakti, first six of them till Archanam, Vandanam, till Archanam, it is taking from the Lord. You are seeking something from the Lord. Devotee at initial step is always in the act of seeking. I want this, I want that, I want a creation from Bhagwan, I want Vibhuti from Bhagwan, I want this, I want that. It goes on. It's all wanting, wanting, wanting. It is at the dasyam state where we say, no, Lord, I want to take care of you. I want to give back to you. I want to serve you, right? That aspect of dasyam is, that's why it now the devotee becomes the giver to the Lord, and Lord becomes the receiver of the service. That is where, that is why Hanuman loves that word, that Ramadasa, because he is constantly in a position of taking care of the Lord and serving the Lord rather than taking from the Lord.
And
Right?
and the beauty of it is hidden in the root word, that what are you giving is
Yes.
love,
Love. It is
which is
actually, which is what is the whole and then if you see the sequence, it is after this kind of deep aspect of giving love and taking giving back to the Lord, serving the Lord and serving back to the society, that you come to a stage of sakyam where there's no giving and taking, right? You become friendship. Naturally, friendship follows. Friendship follows from dasyam. Without dasyam as a step, friendship cannot follow. Friendship happens because there's no giving and taking now. Both, one has given for a while, other has taken for a while and given for a while. Now they become almost at the equals, where that friendship of being oneness comes in, and that leads to Atma Nivedanam. So this sequence, Navavida Bhakti, that you see, if you understand Dasyam in its correct connotation, we see it's a very natural progress. And in fact, here, one beautiful aspect of um, the divine we need to understand. See that just now we discussed the way to lead life is to do everything for and for only with the desire of loving the Lord and for the love of the Lord, right? We just now discussed that. The other important aspect of life, the way we need to lead, is gratitude. Every time I found this in Valmiki Ramayana, when Mother Sita, or be it Hanuman, or be it Angada, or be it Jambavan, they mention Rama, they use the word Krutagnya, one who is grateful. Among all other qualities, that he is the most valorous, most courageous, Dhiman, Shaktiman, and most brilliant all those adjectives, they also add an adjective invariably of kritagnya, kritagnascha. In fact, even in the beginning also, no, dharmagnascha, kritagnascha, Sage Valmiki asks Narada, who is the one who has the 16 qualities, and the very second qualities he mentions is kritagnya, the gratefulness. And this is a divine quality. And Swami also actually epitomized this, that gratefulness. In fact, in one of the Swami used to call boys for work, small, small works. These are not that we were doing great thing. For separating the old clothes or separating the saris that have come, opening the bundles and repacking them and all that. So small, small works. But end of it, during the work also, Swami used to keep feeding us, giving something or the other. End of it again, Swami used to give something or the other. And one such occasion, Swami gave watches, created watches for few, created some a ring for one person, a bracelet for another person, and so on. And while giving, suddenly Swami mentioned that got stuck in my mind. Swami said, I don't keep anything with me. I give back.
Okay.
Right? So this is the aspect of gratefulness. And if you see in Parashara Samhita, Sage Parashara says that actually Hanuman's avatar, that is Lord Shiva's avatar as Hanuman, to serve Lord Rama, is an act of that gratefulness of Lord Shiva. It seems while
Explain that part. Explain that part. It's
yeah,
a very key concept which
yeah, yeah. It seems when Tripurasura Samhara, Tripurasura were three asuras who had three uh, puras, means three moving cities. Okay, and they were invincible as long as they were in that cities, and those three cities had to come in line with one another. And at that point of time, you need to shoot and means you need to actually destroy the three asuras, Tripurasura, and this only Lord Shiva could do. And for doing that act, for fighting with Tripurasura and destroying them, Lord Shiva had to utilize the divine forces across the universe for achieving this, because they were so powerful and so mighty, those asuras. So he actually takes Lord Mahavishnu becomes the arrow. Lord Mahavishnu becomes the arrow for Shiva's bow, for shooting the means for destroying the Tripurasuras. So it is out of that gratefulness that in the battle with Tripurasura, Lord Mahavishnu helped Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva takes the birth of Hanuman to serve Lord Rama in his battle with Ravana. Right? It is an act of that gratitude because of which Lord Hanuman comes, is what says Parashara says. So it is that deep. And in fact, we feel, though actually there's no difference. The beauty is one thing we need to understand, and immediately questions will come: what is this Lord Vishnu, Lord Mahavishnu, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma? All these people, are they different? No. It is like, for that matter, none, both of us are not. We are both embodiments of the same divine, right? But we
Hmm.
exist as two different individuals, right? Doing two different acts. So the attitude that we need to have towards each other is that we see ourselves in each other first and foremost. We see the divine, but we are grateful. There is a relationship which we can have. In spite of we being the same internally, externally because we are different, we need to have a relationship. Same is the case with Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva. Shivasya Hridayam Vishnoho, Vishnosya Hridayam Shivaha, they say. Both are same. There's absolutely no difference. But when they function as two different energies doing different acts in this universe, they also have a relationship between each other. And that relationship is a relationship of gratitude, relationship of love, deep love. And that
Sounds
is why
so.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
finish it. Huh?
That is why the Parashara Samhita, he says that the Hanuman avatar was meant for, was an act of that gratefulness of Lord Shiva to Lord Ram. And that is why he served, he gave back. That is why Dasa he became. He gave back to Lord Rama what benefit he got from Lord Rama.
See, this is here. I would like to highlight one more interesting story. As a dasa attitude, in which we are developing that kind of surrendered attitude also, and in that there are so many things which we learn from Lord Hanuman's life, that you realize that in excitement many times we do things which can you know counter it. For example, there is a story very beautiful that when the bridge was to be made, and everybody was bringing whatever stones and trees and whatever they could get, and Hanuman, obviously being Hanuman, was also flying around. Okay, that time Ram says to them that I want to install Shivling. I want to start this
Hmm.
journey by worshipping. So everybody pauses and they say now they consult with all the seniors
That
as to
Rameshwaram, you're talking about
Rameshwar.
Rameshwaram.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
Ram says that I want to pray to Shiva, first invoke his blessings, and then we will proceed further. So there was a quick discussion amongst the chiefs that for Shivling we need to have a proper stone and all that. So where will he get? And Hanuman excited gets up and says, "Why worry? I'll go and get it. You tell me where it is." And they point out to Narmada River or somewhere. Hanuman takes up a jump and he flies off. In the meantime, as the story goes, and Bhagavan says that in the meantime, Ram I'm remembering of Swami, the way he will conduct if he wants to prove something. So he comes and he says, we are waiting for Hanuman, but let me, in the meantime, make it. And because they are saying, Lord Ram, the sand, we are not able to make shivling out of the sand here. The sand is very soft and all that. And Ram says, let me try. And Bhagwan Ram starts making the shivling himself. And obviously, when he makes it, how can the shivling break? So before Hanuman could bring an appropriate stone from Narmada basin or wherever, Ram had already made the shivling. So when Ram's shivling was ready, Hanuman arrives. And obviously, when he sees that Lord has already made the shivling, and he is disheartened, and he keeps the shivling on the side. And he is a little bit heartbroken, in a way disappointed. Now imagine we are talking about Hanuman. We are not talking about ordinary you and me. It's
Yeah.
talking about the persona like Hanuman. And I can totally relate to it because of Bhagavan. And Ram, it seems, avoids him. And
Typical
then
of
when
typical of Swami.
when it gets over, then Ram goes and like pokes him and he says, "Why are you feeling sad?"
Sulking, sulking.
Well, he was sulking actually, and then
Sulking.
Ram, and on top of it, what Ram did, he got up and when he started walking, he walked, and on the way, Hanuman had left his shivling stone there. So Ram said, "Remove it from here." So it was like you have already
Adding
hurt
salt,
and
adding
you have
salt.
added salt to the wound. And Bhagwan says, "Remove the stone," and he removed it. And then Ram said, "Why are you? What happened?" He said, "I'm sorry, I brought it and you have not accepted it." And Bhagwan's Ram replied, he said, "Hanuman, who asked you to get it? Did I ask you to get it?"
Correct. నేను చెప్పానా?
And
Swami's way of asking. నేను
nee
చెప్పానా?
cheppana, nee cheppana. Exactly, the nee cheppana. Did I tell you? And then, of course, Lord Hanuman, being Hanuman, realized his mistake and he bows down. And then, as a blessing, his living lingam is also installed there. So it seems now you have two shivlings in Rameshwaram area. But the beauty of the whole thing is that in excitement as a devotee, sometimes we want to do more for the Lord. And that is where the mistake creeps in our system and we start thinking more than required. And that is the ego part which Bhagwan can
Yeah.
never tolerate. So when I heard this story from Bhagwan, it's like, oh my God. Can you imagine Hanuman sleeping? Now, when I compare that with Lakshman, for that matter, when Ram casually says to Lakshman, you
Yeah.
make it anywhere, that hut in Panchavati, Lakshman breaks down,
Yeah.
which also shows that being the incarnation, Lakshman never deviated even for a second. Even that trick question of Ram, that Lakshman make it anywhere, was enough to give alarm to Lakshman that, hey, where did I exist? How
Correct.
did I exist that Ram says, you do it? So I
Yeah.
don't. And in Swami's, in Sai Ram Katha Rasvaini, Bhagavan is very beautifully mentioned there that Bhagavan Ram had to console him so much that he said, okay, come, come, come. And he drags him to the spot and he says, okay, Lakshman, make it here.
Yeah.
So
Correct.
to that extent, Ram had to go and tell him, make it here. Now I am telling you. And that is what I realized that even Hanumanji
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
distracted.
Actually,
So
there I
that is
would like
why,
to tell one more story of Lakshman, which means no the humanness how it creeps in and tries to affect the individual. This is about this thala mahima, the effect of vibrations in a place, how they affect. I think this story also you would have heard. It seems
no, please tell.
in the forest as Sita, Rama, Lakshmana were moving around in the forest. At one point, suddenly Lakshmana turns around to Rama and says, "Enough is enough, brother. Lord Rama, let me go back to Ayodhya. Let us just go. And I have what suffering is this? This is meaningless. Walking around in the forest like this, barefooted, with nothing to eat. Enough is enough. Enough of all these troubles. And let us just go back, and I will fight. You don't need to fight because you have given a word to Father. I will do the rest of it, and let's just go back and if you don't listen, also I'm going and I'm going to fight. Okay. So Lord Rama very silently he says, okay, um, okay, Lakshmana, will do. Let's just walk further. So after they cross that area and go further, Lakshmana is completely baffled. He says, he falls at the feet of Rama and says, Rama, I don't know what I spoke. And this, I'm sorry, I will not, please don't take those to heart. Then Lord Rama says, it is not your thoughts that had actually, it was not your desire and your feelings that you expressed. It was the effect of the vibrations of that place. That is the place where Shurpanaka lives, and that is where, as we cross that area, you got all bad vibrations, and those vibrations made you speak like this. So the
This is,
effect of
I didn't know that about Ramayana had this story because this was the same similar story which was talk of Shravan Kumar when
okay,
he crosses the Hastinapur area.
uh-huh.
He also drops the parents and he says, what am I doing? Why am I carrying you around?" And then the parents says, "Okay, son, do me a favor. You have brought us till here. Just take us to that next village and then drop us." So when he crosses that border of Hastinapur, he also realizes the mistake.
This Swami has told in the discourse. Swami has told this.
Oh God.
Lakshmana has so that powerful these vibrations, and so the other than the divine, the supreme one and the only divine, right? All other um, Amsavatars also are amenable for making a mistake. Should we say that?
There is
Right?
another very beautiful story, a background story, I would say, which only Bhagwan could tell us these things. It is the story about when, after everything is over and they are assembled in the hall, all these people, they, you know, the Sita gives the the
Yeah.
gem garland, the necklace to Hanuman. That story everybody knows. And Hanumanji breaks that beads one by one, puts it in his ears, and then throws it off. And people are surprised. I'm just making the story short. The people are shocked and hurt that he's kind of insulting Mother Sita, and he's biting and throwing it off. They thought that he's literally a Vanara with low IQ. What is happening? And then when the discussion reaches and Ram intervenes, and Hanuman says that, Lord, if I'm trying to listen to Ramanam in the beats, and if the beats don't have Ramanam, it is useless for me. And then the people in the audience, they start questioning Hanuman that, Hanuman, are you saying that nothing with Rama's name you will accept? He says, yes. He says, prove it. And that is where Hanuman plucks his hair and he starts giving to people, and the people hear every roam, every hair of Hanuman chanting Ram Ram.
No, no.
So that is where the version came that Rom Rom Me Ram.
No, no.
Every hair beats had got a Ram. So this is a story which is narrated, and we have been hearing this from childhood, that Hanuman gets blessing and everybody is
Yeah.
happy. And at that very moment, what happens? Ram gets up and rushes to Hanuman and gives him a hug. And you know that if you make a mistake
Yeah.
and Bhagwan pleases you, then the whole world loves you, even for your mistake,
Yes.
right? And if he turns his head, then you are killed for the best
Yeah.
work also. So Hanuman gets a hug from Ram, and everybody is happy. They are clapping for him, and the day is over. Next day, Hanuman is happily coming to Ram's place, and Ram avoids him. Hanuman is not allowed to go near Ram
You can
in his
imagine
audience.
Swami doing it.
Swami doing it. I'm telling you, I'm just thinking about it. Oh my God, all the avatars, you behave in the same manner?
Old habits die hard.
It's like crazy. And Hanuman is avoided. Till Hanuman breaks down and falls at his feet and says, Master, tell me what mistake I have committed. I'm sorry. And then Ram says, Hanuman, you have spent so much time with me. I have given you every bit of my life experience with you. And you still are differentiating between my name and form. Couldn't you see Ram in the beads?
Wow, beautiful.
How can you not
And
see Ram
couldn't you see Ram everywhere? That man.
everywhere? So
Yeah.
how can you want to hear Ram alone from that bead? Can't you see Ram everywhere still? And that was, I would
The
say,
turning point. That was the turning point for his the final realization that Lord Rama is everywhere.
and obviously, when I look at Bhagwan's stories and Lord Hanuman's thing, even though what we are now looking at as a slips of Lord Hanuman, they were only committed once.
Yeah.
Each slip he has never
Evolved.
repeated,
Correct.
evolved. So that is the beauty of a sadhaka. So that
Correct.
is why I find Hanuman as a character which can be used as an ideal for all of us. That
Yes.
slipping is not a fault, but maintaining
Not
from slipping and going higher, that is the beauty of a sadhaka.
repeating is a fault. Not repeating is right.
So when Bhagwan said that I have kept Hanuman's idol on hill view for people to get inspired to know how one should, who should be your ideal, who should be your role model, that is your role model.
Yeah.
So, it's an amazing, and these are small, small
No, see,
stories.
small things. There are so many things to learn. See, in the Sundara Kanda means after, see the beauty. It's so thrilling to see, even be it his in his relationship with Lord Rama, or be it in his actual work attitude. I think he had an attitude of doing his duty as duty, but his heart is completely in union with Lord Rama. Example is he jumps across the ocean, goes to Lanka, sees Mother Sita, right? Gets the Chudamani, kills. the Rakshasas, right? Gives a good dose of advice to Ravana, burns the Lanka, comes back victorious after all that, and he narrates all these things to his fellow Vanaras, right? And after all that, when they're going back to Lord Rama, right, on the way they see this Madhuvan. All the monkeys who are around, the his fellow um, uh, Vanaras, they all jump and say, why not we go and take honey from there and eat fruits there in that Vana, which is supposed to be Sugriva's protected Vana, right? So they ask Hanuman, and Hanuman, what we would have thought if any one of us would have achieved so much and come, we would have said, I am the boss now. That's it, right? Nobody else matters now, right? Hanuman's greatness, I was really, uh, when I read this, no, I was really shocked. How can someone be so grounded? He looks at Angada, because Angada is Yuvaraja, and Angada is the team leader for the whole team. He looks at Angada and he tells the Vanaras to take his permission. He asks Angada, they are asking this, what do you have to say? Then Angada gives permission, saying that yes, let's go. Then they all go. He doesn't say, let's go, there's no problem. He doesn't even see the beauty of his behavior, no? What perfection in his behavior. He doesn't forget that Yuvaraja is there and he is the team leader. He has to be given his due. And just because he has achieved something, he cannot take undue credit.
You
Amazing, no?
know, yeah, but I'll tell you, I am enjoying it because this is the stories which we know, and then Bhagavan comes and gives you another flavor, the behind the scene kind of a story.
Yeah.
What happened? One more extension to the same stories is that when Hanuman comes to Rama's audience,
Hmm.
and everybody is praising Hanuman. Everybody is like very excited that they have done it, and they are pushing Hanuman to go and do it. And Hanuman is humbly acknowledging it. See, that is an external look which we are watching or which we are noticing. But what happens in our heart, only he knows.
Correct.
And that is where he comes and corrects us. So when he is trying to go to Hanuman, Ram's audience, Ram avoids Hanuman. And that one day, when she get avoided, it shocks everybody. As you rightly said, everybody is expecting that after such a beautiful task, when Sita has been found and Hanuman has alone done the whole thing, Ram would be happy to acknowledge. But here, Lord Ram is not even looking at him. And when next day he falls, catches his feet, and I'm totally reminded of that the way we used to run and catch Bhagwan. And he says, Swami, what happened? Then Ram, first statement, it seems, as per Bhagavan, Ram says, who asked you to burn the Lanka? Who asked you to kill the people there? I asked you to go and see and come back.
Correct.
And I'm wondering, like, my God, can you imagine? But when I read
No,
it carefully,
it could be, no, see, for Lord Rama, when we look at it from the perspective of how Swami would have reacted. For Lord Rama, there is no enemy, there's no friend. Their trouble, their cries of succor when the people of Lanka ran hither and thither because Lanka is burning, right? Would have reached him only, no? Who else
no,
it would
but
have reached? Right?
brother, I find there is so much to learn from here.
Yeah, yeah.
See, one what you're explaining, I totally agree with you because he is not different. For him, it's all same. But as long as Hanuman kept reminding that it is because of Ram that I crossed the Lanka, I
Yes,
crossed the ocean. It is because of Mother Sita my tail did not get burnt and I didn't
right.
feel the heat. It is because of his grace. See, that whole attitude that I don't exist, everything was going fine. But the last minute, when
Then the I came.
everybody started praising him, and he acknowledged the praise. Probably the little bit of acknowledgement went into his head when he said, "Yes, I'm going to see Ram now," and that is where he got.
Correct.
So can you imagine like how much, and I think we all can relate to that, that Bhagwan would, that is where he would catch, and the world will not even know
Yes.
that why you are getting such treatment,
Yes.
because it is that internal thing which he is looking at. He's not bothered about what people are saying, what how you're looking, how you're pretending. He knows your inner bit. And I was shocked to hear when he said, Ram is asking Hanuman, who asked you to burn Lanka?
Correct.
And there, the Rakshasi gets a dream that a monkey would
Yeah.
come and burn.
Burn.
They
Yes.
all, so it
It's
is all
already done.
it's all predestined, and
Correct.
yet he gets slapped for it. And he gets
That's
slapped because he acknowledged that
that he
it is
did it.
he. I
Beautiful.
find
Really
these examples are
wonderful,
like
really.
mind-boggling examples, right?
Yeah. Means
And as I said,
it only shows how how careful the sadhaka has to be
has to
to
be.
ensure that these mistakes don't creep into one's existence.
And about the thing which you are talking about, the constant excuse, the yukti and asakti or anurakti of Hanuman. It seems when they return, everybody was settled. Ram was Abhishek was done. All the courtesans and all the people heads, they come to Ram and he says, Ram, Hanuman has played a very beautiful role. So I think we want to offer our gratitude to Hanuman. So they go to Vashisht first, and Vashisht said, "You're talking about Hanuman. I can't comment on him. So according to me, you should not do such things for Hanuman." Then they go to Ram, and Ram says, "Hanuman, you don't know Hanuman. Just forget it." But they insist. They insist that Lord Hanuman, Lord Ram, that we want to give him something, as a token of our appreciation and gratitude. So when they insist, Ram says, "Okay, you are taking chance. Don't blame me afterwards." So a court is organized and they make a surprise thing for him. And here comes Hanuman, you know, moving around very beautifully, and he settles down and they start giving him gifts. Somebody's putting shawl on him, somebody's giving gifts to him, and he doesn't know what to do with them. He just like they give, he keeps. He's totally disinterested, and he doesn't even look at all anywhere. And he's constantly looking at Ram and wondering like, why are you allowing such things? That look of Hanuman, it seems, is that, Master, why are you allowing these jokers? What is happening here? So he's totally disinterested to such an extent that everybody starts feeling hurt that we are giving him so much of praise and acknowledgement, but Hanuman is not acknowledging any one of us. He's totally looking at Ram. So in that upset mood, sage Javali is there,
Hmm.
and sage Javali curses Hanuman in a way,
Ah.
in a loud way. What is the curse? Hanuman, the way you have avoided us and kept looking at Ram, may you continuously think of Ram only now.
It's a blessing.
So it became a blessing. And Hanuman, when he listens to that, he starts jumping and dancing.
What
And he
more
says,
is needed, really?
this is what I want. So look
Correct.
at the constant. I think the evolution of Hanuman is a very beautiful story.
Beautiful
Where,
story, really.
and it seems Bhagwan sang, unfortunately, I don't have the Telugu song of it. He sang a song which was about Jabali saying this.
Okay.
That, oh,
We'll get
Hanuman,
it at least
oh,
by next time.
yeah,
Okay.
try it. Because
Maybe
he
I'll
says,
I remember.
Jabali says to Hanuman that just the way you are thinking of Ram all the time and you have avoided all of us, may you only think of Ram and be in his constant remember. So
Fantastic.
Hanuman started jumping and dancing.
Even further.
Isn't it beautiful? Like, you when you
Beautiful.
look at like continuous and you see that
Yes, yes.
the script of Hanuman, the
And
victories
it's
of
immediately
Hanuman,
corrected. Actually, like what we experienced with Swami also, the correct the ignoring aspect of Lord Rama, right, was only to correct and ensure that that element of I-ness doesn't come in, element
doesn't
of
come.
separation doesn't come in. It is more of actually out of love, ensuring that the sadhaka, the devotee goes in the right path. Is it not? The Lord takes those additional acts he does is only to actually correct and set the path right for the devotee. Is it not? So
You
you
know,
can actually also see
so,
how Swami would help us, how Rama helped Hanuman. Swami would help us in the path if we take the path truly and sincerely.
see, I was talking to one brother, Gopal, before, and we are talking about, the way God is so focused on making us realize things that He can take any step to achieve that goal.
Yes.
And he says, unfortunate part of our human sadhana is that we don't learn from easy methods. The pain connects faster than pleasure.
Correct.
So if everything is fine and goody goody, our thought, our focus may not remain. That is why the unrightness of our personality is so disturbing. And you need that element of pain or that avoidance to reach that peak.
Correct. That
And
separation.
when that scene with Swami, he attaches you so much that the moment he turns his head, we are just destroyed. And
Yes.
each time you take a peek, each time he increases the pain. And people have asked Bhagwan this question, like, Swami, you know that children or boys are really feeling pain and they are crying. He said, yes, I know, but it is good for them.
Yes.
Because when they are in pain, they are only thinking of me, and that is the evolution.
Correct.
And he made a very beautiful point and a very good observation. He said Jesus spoke so much for his last phase of his life. Nothing is captured, nothing has transformed people as his words. But what he spoke on crucifix
Correct.
created Christianity. See, the three statements of Jesus were on crucifix.
Correct.
I and my Father are one is there.
Yes.
So imagine as a devotee, only when we saw the pain, we connected with him and there was an
Yes.
evolution. So when you look at Bhagwan, how much pain he takes on himself, and
Yeah.
that pain makes us connect with
Like,
him.
yes, that's
It
true.
is so sad sometimes, but unfortunately, we don't learn in loving way.
Yeah.
So it is always that other part, which
Because
is
that
very
first aspect of constantly, that first aspect of devotion is where we are stuck. Shabadam Kirtanam, where it's all seeking. We have not yet reached the state where we want to constantly give to the Lord. Right? So again, coming back to Navavida Bhakti, right? So it's at the seeking level, what happens is you really still have not um, tasted the real nectar of the divine. It's only when we start giving. It's like I think you would have experienced this when we start, even at a physical level, when we are taking care of physical needs of Bhagwan. As students, sometimes we used to get these opportunities. The kind of joy and the kind of that I would say divine that nectar that we tasted in that those few moments of um, being attentive to his needs, right, was was a different experience as compared to all the bhajans and all the japas that we do, right? It's a very different experience. So that aspect of servitude, that is where no, even I was initially till I went through this root word meaning of dasya, I didn't realize why the in an aparada sahasrani that sloka that we all chant, especially after Vedam, aparada sahasrani kriyante aharnishamaya dasoya
sure.
miti matva kshama prarthana. So there it is said dasoya mitimam matva kshamasva saishwara. That means
Oh,
actual translation, is what? Accept
okay.
me or look at me as your dasa, and therefore you pardon me, right? So I used to wonder why should it be that you look at me as you or you accept me as your dasa and therefore pardon me. Why can't I say I am your dasa and therefore you pardon me? Understanding the difference, I can always say I am your dasa and therefore you pardon me. It means there's no acknowledgement needed from the Lord. I was thinking that way. But then when we realize that dasa is giving in a loving manner, the other side, which is the Lord, has to be willing to take. So the level of dasa is a level where the Lord also has come down, has agreed to take the devotee's service, right? So it is dasoya mitima matva. Therefore, please accept me. That is where Kulshekar Alvar, he has written Mukundamala. He says in his one of his poems, Tad bhrutya bhrutya paricharaka bhrutya bhrutya bhrutyasya bhrutya iti mam smara lokanatha. Oh Lord, think of me as what? Seventh generation servant almost. Your servants. It goes on like that. Bhrutyasya bhrutya iti maham smara lokanatha. Right? Pad bhrutya bhrutya paricharaka bhrutya bhrutyasya bhrutya iti maham smara lokanatha. So at
Oh,
least think of me as your servant. Of course, bhrutya again is same as dasa. As but do allow me to serve you. So that is the prayer, I think, which even Tyagaraja says in his Banturiti Kodu Yavaya Rama. There's a beautiful Tyagaraja Kriti where he sings Banturiti Kodu Yavaya Rama. Means, oh Lord, give me the opportunity to serve you as your servant. And Mirabai also sang Chakra Rakoji. Is it not?
yes.
So it is that acceptance of the divine. It also be dasa. We should also see the other side where the Lord is now taking charge of the devotee. I will accept your service, then I'll become your friend, then I'll accept you in totality. Will not allow any element of separation to come between you and me. So I think from dasa bhava bhakti onwards, no, it is the Lord taking charge of the devotee, and that's where the involvement of the Lord is immense from then on in the life of the devotee. Till there, it is the devotee's prayer and effort, but from there on, it's taken over by the Lord.
See, immediately, in Hanumanji's life, I'm finding there is so much, the range for a devotee to learn. Like there is another story which just I would like to conclude there, and then it's a very beautiful story, and I read it in Hindi, and explanation was phenomenal. That Sindoor story
Ah,
that we
yes.
know where Hanuman was trying to be with Ram all the
Yeah.
time. And at night, everybody says, "Okay, now depart." So Hanuman says, "Ram, I'm not tired. I'll sit with you." Then Lakshman says to him, Bharat says, "No, Hanumanji, it's night time. We all have to retire." He said, "Let Ramji sleep, and I'll be sitting here and watching him. He may need something at night." Then they agreed that no, they convinced him that no, you can't. It is his private time. He has to be. But then he sees that Mother Sita is still in the room. He said, "But Mother is still here." He says, "Mother is allowed to stay. We can't stay now." He says, "Why is she allowed to stay?" No, it's a very beautiful innocence.
Yeah.
I find sometimes mind boggling that a Pandit, a scholar of all the knowledge, a personality which bestows knowledge to the world, is talking with and being with such an innocence, sitting there and asking that, "Why is Mother allowed?" And then Lakshman very casually says, "Don't you see the red dot kumkum on her head?" He says, "What is that?" And he explains that it is because of that she has a permission to
That,
be in his audience, and now we can't. We have to leave. So Hanuman, with a heavy heart, leaves. And
but
can you
next day,
imagine? And next day, and it is very beautifully described, a humongous Hanuman. I am not sure what could be his height because they describe him as a huge body, covered totally with kumkum, that red
Hindu.
vermilion. And he's walking, and they said every step there is like a 1 kilo of kumkum is falling on the ground. He walks into the court with that. And everybody is shocked and looking at him like, has he gone mad or what has happened to him? How can he come to the court like that? And he's totally dressed and he's laughing and dancing. So then people have to stop him, and Bharat questions that, Hanuman, what happened? Is it some kind of a custom with your Vanaras that you are performing this right? He says, no, it's not my custom, it is your custom. Only yesterday night I got to know this is a Raghukul Reet. There is some custom in Raghukula. Where did you see that custom? He said, I just noticed yesterday only I got to know that if you apply a little bit of kumkum, you get access to Ram every time. So if that is the custom, I have drenched myself with kumkum now, so I should always be allowed with Ram. So everybody is laughing in the audience. And the narrator writes it so beautifully. He says, only Bharat is crying. He has got tears in his eyes. And he's looking at amazement with Ram and Hanuman. And Lakshman questions Bharat. He says, Bhai, what happened, brother? Why are you crying? He says, look at him. He is Pavan Putra. He is Rudra Avatar. He is the knowledger. He is the embodiment of knowledge himself. He is a prince and a king on his own right. With so much of credentials, this man, this Vanara, has forgotten everything in the devotion of Ram.
Yeah. Love
And
for
he's
Ram.
sitting like an innocent child. Only one desire, to love Ram. And
To
Bharat
be
says,
with
I thought that I have loved Ram. But looking at him, I realize that I'm nowhere.
beautiful. Wonderful, really.
Look at the range of Hanuman. Eh? When you look at all of that, it is you're forced to really think back. And that is why probably Bhagwan made Hanuman's idol as the biggest idol in Puttaparthi
Correct.
and put him on a hilltop. So that when we look at this phenomena, we have to remember so much. What did he stand for?
And
He's not an
every step of our journey, he is the role model. That's why, right? Every step
isn't it
of
amazing?
his journey, he is the role model.
And I think there's a probably why he was only person allowed to stay back with Ram when
Yes.
everybody had to go back. He never left. It is like I remember Kamavdani, it's like a Kamavdani style.
Yes.
Once you get, you don't want to leave.
That's all.
Kamavdani Garu also never
Yes.
left.
Never left.
Once he got hooked, done. So can you imagine? That is what it is like. I wonder what conviction in life, what maturity, what ripeness in a personality should be
Yes.
that once you have found it, it's over. The chase is done.
Yeah.
And then it is just single pointed focus to live with the Lord. Isn't it amazing? Like the more and
Amazing,
more I
really.
think about this, it is fantastic. I don't know. I think we
Well,
have a lot to discuss, but this
yeah.
dasa is an amazing concept. And I tell you honestly, thanks to you and all the research, we are reading Bhagwan, and thanks to Swami for this. The das concept has changed.
Yes. Yes.
And that is why when Bhagwan says, I'm your das and you have to be das to the
Yeah.
world, see what does it mean? In simple words, offer your love
Love.
as
Correct.
that's it. The person with the capacity to give love is das.
It does. Correct.
What a beautiful translation, my God. From a servant to a giver
To a giver.
of love.
That is the right meaning of dasa. That is why Ramadasa is such a wonderful, means he is actually constantly in love for Lord Rama and constantly in servitude of Lord Rama. That's what it means.
It's
And that is the
fantastic.
journey. It's fantastic. That is the journey that I think we need to take. We need to reach that spot. As I said, it also calls for the Lord's grace and love to accept us as the ones who can serve him and love him, right?
How did you explain the transition from a das to a mitra, Maitri Bhav, Sakha? See, I can understand that oneness, but like Arjun, but he slept many times. But still, that capacity of a das and be a friend and come back to das. In my little understanding, I would say one person, if I've seen with Bhagavan, Kasturi Garu.
Even Jogarao Garu also. Jogarao Garu also
Jogara,
was
but
similar.
I'm not. Yeah, agreed. But Jogara was bestowed by Bhagavan as a friend's role. But as a from dasa to friend, because the
Oh, yeah,
dedication of
yeah, yeah.
Kasturi Garu was amazing. Jogara
Yeah,
Garu was bestowed as a friend to by Bhagavan. So it's like you are blessed. But when you look at
correct,
Kasturi
very
Garu's
true.
life, I find it is an interesting journey from the Dasoham to Sakha.
Sakha, correct.
He could joke and be with Swami, but at the same time, he would never deviate that he's God. In
Yeah,
fact, I remember if I'm sure it must be, he once told us, we are talking to him for some reason. I don't know what odd. He used to crack jokes and he would
yeah,
always make it light for all of us and he'll make it very simple. And we are laughing and Bhagwan suddenly turned towards us and he said, chill boys, remember one thing, children. And he would talk like that with his fingers
yeah,
and imitation. He says, boys, always remember, as long as he's scolding you, he's shouting at you, he's upset with you, know that you're on the right track.
correct.
Continue. The moment he starts praising you, and that too in front of you, you are doomed.
No, I'll tell you, when you said this, I'm reminded of what Kutumrao sir told me once. Every
Yes.
day, it seems, there was not a day, single day, from the time he was given the duty of taking care of the ashram, right? Every day he used to get blasted by Bhagwan. Swami used to, means there was not a single day he used to come back home and say everything went fine. And so, so one day, uh, I boldly asked him, "Don't you feel bad that every day there is you invariably land up getting some scolding, some admonition from Bhagwan?" He said, "No, that's the way Swami is taking away the sins that I have done, and taking me on a path where I can merge into him. Why should I be worried? In fact, if he doesn't shout at me, I feel worried." So those time devotees, I think, were of a different cadre altogether.
But isn't it interesting that that attitude can lead you to a sakha bhav, or sakha bhav becomes very difficult to sustain, and only a personality like Hanuman ji could sustain that sakha bhav and still remain, because that attitude of taking liberty, like imagine Arjun, who was blessed with so much of
Yeah,
proximity, he even saw Virat Roop. And yet, when the war was over, he insisted Krishna to get down first
get
from
down
the chariot.
first.
So you can imagine that Sakha Bhav is so delicate that you can slip. And here Hanuman even epitomized that to the perfection.
Perfection. Yes.
He played the role of a Sakha as a secret keeper, as a counselor, as the intimate
Because
person to be all.
When Vibhishana comes to Rama for refuge, it is Hanuman whom Lord Rama turns to and asks for his suggestion. All others, Vanra, Sugriva, Angada, all of them are saying no, 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 straight away without even being asked by Lord Rama about their opinion. It is Hanuman, because Lord Rama knows Hanuman has already seen Vibhishana, right? That is the reason one. The reason two being, there the relationship of Mitra comes in, the friendship of Hanuman, how Lord Rama is to treat him as an advisor, as a friend, comes in there, wherein he looks at Hanuman and says, "What would you say? What should I do? And Hanuman says, Lord, you know what is the best. He is your ardent devotee. That's all he tells. And then Lord Rama tells that those who come to me for succor, no matter who they are, I'll give them protection. That is how Vibhishana comes actually.
I'm remembering that about the confidant part, that
Yeah.
keep things. One story which Bhagwan, according to Valmiki, it is the other way around, but according to Bhagwan, that crow story, that crow,
Yeah,
the bite
correct. Yes.
hits the Sita and she bleeds,
Yeah.
and Rama throws that the grass
Um,
towards
last
him, and it
Brahma,
becomes a Brahmastra. It becomes an astra, and then so this story is not known even to Lakshman, it seems,
yeah, correct. Hmm.
and this
It's
is
true.
told to Hanuman, and
Right.
this is story which becomes a reason
For
for Sita to
identification. Correct.
identify. Look at the connect, and you also it's a divine play, no doubt about it. But it also speaks of the confidence that
Yeah.
so many people went looking for Mother Sita in all area, but some secrets were only told and given to Hanuman
Correct.
because one
Every-
needs to deserve that
Yeah.
kind of affinity. So that is a friend's part of it, that friend role that Hanuman has achieved, that even Ram could confine, even Mother Sita could confine in Hanuman.
Yes.
They could treat him with that personal touch, that he knew exactly what conspired between Ram and Sita, which nobody else could.
Yeah.
So that is a very beautiful aspect of, you know, as a
So
friend.
at every point, if you see, Lord Rama used to turn to Hanuman only, even when it came to, say, for example, when he comes back from the war, he reaches the Nandigrama. Before reaching Bharata, he sends Hanuman first. He says, "You go and tell Bharata that I have come," because he
Yes.
knows Hanuman will tell in the right way. He will tell in the way he'll convey what has to be conveyed and the way it has to be conveyed. That confidence that he had in Lord Hanuman, the all his, we see few aspects only being told in Ramayana. All his physical requirements also, it was he used to confide with Hanuman. For every requirement, it was Hanuman who was the immediate confidant for Lord Rama. So that's the Maitri part which comes in, where the give and take now becomes immaterial. Who gives and who takes becomes immaterial. It is the feeling of uh,
Oneness.
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 Something is needed, we reach out. That's it, right? So there's so that taking the love, taking the service now gets transformed to a state where it is there's no more giving and taking. It's more of oneness. That's what is my three
You
part.
know how Bhagavan described friend one day, and he said, you call friends friends. Who's a friend? And then he defined himself. He said, two bodies, one mind.
Yes.
I
No
said,
mind left of Hanuman, right? He's not
you
thinking
can't
about.
you can't even get a better definition. I'm each time I listen to Swami, I like wow. It's like a wow only. You can continuously keep saying wow, wow.
Correct.
Two bodies, one mind. And there's nobody else who can match you other than God. And that is
Yes.
why God is your friend. So as long as, and he said very clearly, as long as you are connected to everything through God, then you are fine. But
Yes.
if you connect everybody directly, then
Yeah.
you will be always miserable.
Correct.
So a good friend is amazing, right? The concept is so beautiful. And then the last, the Hanumanji says that a good friend should take you to God.
Correct.
Even they say that even the marriages and all that is leading towards God. So
God.
the
Yes.
good friend, and here we find Hanumanji has done that for everybody. Even
Yes.
Rakshasa he brought to Ram. He brought everybody to Ram.
Yes.
Because for him, there is nothing else. And he has, as you rightly pointed out, that for him it was like a kind of excuse that if everybody is thinking of Ram, so he'll always be talking about Ram.
Nothing at Ram, that's it.
So if all the friends are Ram, 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 so he's always saying Ram. So it's fantastic. I think it's a beautiful journey, but Lord
Yeah,
Hanuman is, from our perspective, also not yet done. We still
yeah,
have a little more to highlight and share. So I think we'll continue prayerfully next week again by Bhagwan's grace. So
yeah.
thank you very much, brother. Any final words you want to say?
Thank you. That reminding and recapitulating the story of Lord Rama, Lord Hanuman, and then Bhagwan, and the way means so many times the um, when we are talking about this full story and so many events, we almost feel Swami's life, and we are actually able to correlate, and it becomes almost live experience right now. The way Swami would have behaved, the way Swami would have ignored everything. When we talk of Rama and correlate it to Swami, it's exactly the same. At that time, unfortunately, or it is his will, we didn't go this deep and realize the beauty of our Bhagwan in this depth. But at least in reminiscence, it's giving me tremendous joy. Just to live and to imagine how same or how similar, how exactly the same attitude and behavior it was with Lord Rama and Swami. So no difference. In fact, by having seen Swami, I think we can more or less predict what Lord Rama would have done.
Would have done.
Right? Right? It's becoming so evident that every aspect of Swami was and is just like every other avatar.
I
Is it
think
not? It's so
that's a
beautiful,
template to
really.
follow.
So
There's a
beautiful,
template to
really.
follow.
So beautiful.
It's so relatable. It's so relatable
Yeah.
that it
So
becomes alive
relatable.
in front of us. Thank you. Pray to
Yeah.
Bhagwan to continue shower his blessings on us. And thank you, audience, for joining. And if you have any suggestions, thoughts, please do share with us. And the video will be on the channel. Thank you very much, Sai Ram.